Hello, and welcome back to the Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast. Today, I wanted to talk with you about two of my favorite subjects, faith and miracles. I believe that everyone is a unique creative genius. I believe that we are all here trying to figure out how to become conscious creators. And I teach that the principles of offering, accepting, and blocking that are foundational principles in improvisation are also foundational principles for this gigantic, beautiful improvisation that we are in on the great stage of life. And I say that my work takes people to the intersection of creative imagination, personal responsibility, and inspired action. So today's really about the inspired action part. We know that the universe offers, and we know that our job here is to offer, accept offers, and not to block the offers, and especially not to block the offers that the universe is sending us. So when we talk about faith and miracles, we're talking about that inspired action. And the first thing I want to do is start with the definition of faith. What is faith? Because I think a lot of times we get faith confused with belief. We think that believing in something and having faith in something is the same thing. And so I actually looked at the definition of belief, and the dictionary defines belief in these three ways: a state or habit of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in some person or thing, something that is accepted, considered to be true, or held as an opinion, something believed. Okay, let me say that again. Belief is something believed. I just really want to wrap my head around that for a minute and realize, thanks, Mr. Webster, that's a lot of help. So the third definition of belief is conviction of the truth of some statement or reality of some being or phenomenon, especially when based on examination of the evidence. So when you believe in something, you are accepting it as true. And we all know that we are working in this 24/7 improv to accept every offer as a fact. It doesn't mean we agree with it, but it does mean that we accept it. Okay, so that means we believe it. We believe that it exists. We believe that the other person believes it, whatever it is. Okay, but faith is something that is different than belief. I want to go back to that first definition of belief, because that first definition of belief was a state or habit of mind. I think that is probably the clearest definition of belief. The problem is that a lot of times those states or habits of mind are limiting beliefs. And faith is what brings us beyond that state or habit of mind. Now, the dictionary definition of faith is a firm belief in something for which there is no proof, absolute or unquestioning trust or belief, something that is believed, especially with strong conviction. So we're right back in the same spot we were. Believing is believing and faith is believing, and whatever. Basically, when we look at the way we think about faith, the way we live about faith, faith is active. Belief is a state of mind. It's a thought, right? It's a habit of mind, as the dictionary said, a habit of mind. Faith is active. How do I know that? Because think about it. It's in our DNA, the way we talk about faith. We talk about an act of faith. We talk about a leap of faith. Nobody talks about a leap of belief, right? We take a leap of faith. It requires action. It requires us to participate, to do something. And if you remember the acting truisms, right, in Spontaneous Brilliance, acting is active, right? We hear we must be doing, not just feeling or thinking, but doing. It's what we do that matters. Belief, this is the way I look at it. Belief is knowing that you could do something, but faith is having the courage to do that thing. And faith is the key to miracles. Miracles don't happen because we sit around and hope they will. Miracles happen because we step out in faith. Ernest Holmes said, "When through intuition, faith finds its proper place under divine law, there are no limitations, and what are called miracles result." Hello. We are here to do that. We are here to find that proper place for our faith. And then we are without limitation. We are co-creating with the universe. The universe is creating all the time, right? We are creating all the time. It's when we join together and we accept the offers of the universe and we listen to our soulful self and we don't block the universe. The universe never blocks us, remember? When we don't block the universe, that's when our faith finds its proper place and what are thought of as miracles result. Yippee! This is good news, you guys. Okay? So I have 5 steps on the way to miracles. Okay? The 5 steps are dreams, faith, action, transformation, and manifestation. So we're going to talk about those real quick. So dreams. Dreams are cool. Dreams are sacred inspiration, right? Dreams are those things that the universe offers us, that our soul offers us, that gives us the inspiration. When we have a dream, when we have a desire, then that's that tiny spark of creation that is pointing us toward what we're here to do. Henry David Thoreau said, "If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with success unexpected in the common hours." And I often say that our imagination is the bridge to our soul, right? Our imagination is how we connect with the divine spark of creation. Those dreams are the spark of creation. And we block our dreams because of fear. Fear is the black hole of miracles. Fear's like kryptonite to our dreams. We have to remember that the universe never blocks. So if we have that desire, if the universe didn't give it to us to frustrate us, it gave it to us to light us on fire. When we get pain from our dream, it's because we blocked it. It's because we focused on the fear. It's because we thought about, well, what if I can't do it? Or what if I'm not good enough? Or what if, maybe that's not quite going to work out the way I imagine it. And so maybe I shouldn't just even try. When we're doing that, when we're blocking that inspiration, that's when we are causing ourselves the pain of not living our dreams. We've got to accept that offer. Ernest Holmes says also, we are born to be happy and grow and expand forever. Hey, wow. Okay. We think that there's something, we like to think as human beings that there's something out there to achieve to find happiness. But according to Ernest Holmes, that's where we start. We start happy. We are born happy. We are born to be happy and to grow and to expand forever in alignment with our dreams, you guys. The dreams are there to drive us forward, to help us find the next step. The second step to miracles is faith. Faith is one of the 2 things I told you I wanted to talk to you about today, faith and miracles, right? So faith is the second step on the road to miracles, but I think it's the key. It's the most important key. It's the center of everything. Faith is how we manage that fear that stops us from taking inspired action toward our dreams, right? So faith is just that believing and then taking action on the belief. And you don't have to believe a ton, you guys. You don't have to have huge amounts of faith, and you don't have to have faith without fear. You just achieve the courageous place by stepping forward in faith, taking that step in faith. As Jesus, the master teacher, said, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, be removed, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. That's Matthew 17:20. If you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, be removed, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Jesus, master teacher of faith. Jesus, also master performer of miracles. And he said to us, the things I do, you shall do, and even greater. And we don't listen to that part. We get really focused on how good Jesus was at miracles. But he told us we could do those. We could do those miracles and even greater. I want to tell you another little story. And this story, I know you've heard. You've heard some version of it, right? Matthew 14:24 through 33 is the story of Jesus being near the water, and there were some disciples out on a boat, and he could see them, and night was falling, and he wanted to get to them quickly. And rather than having them row in, he just went walking out across the water. And the disciples are looking out there, and they're like, whoa, is that you? And he's like, yeah. Peter is astounded by this, and Peter says, if you tell me to step out there with you, I will. And Jesus is like, well, then come on. And so Peter steps out of the boat, and he is walking on the water, and then it says that he felt the wind, and he started to sink. And he reached out his hand and asked Jesus to save him. And it says that Jesus reached his hand out and pulled him back up. Now, I had to go back and reread some of that because I have lived a lot of years just kind of holding the Sunday school version of that story in my head and not really realizing that it doesn't say he fell into the water. It says he started to sink. He started to lose his confidence, and he started to sink. And he reached out his hand, and Jesus took his hand, and it says that Jesus pulled him up, and they got into the boat. They got back into the boat. That tells me it's not like this guy fell in the water and wah-ha-ha, and he swam back to the boat. No, they walked back to the boat. And Jesus, when he reached out his hand to help him, he said, "Oh, ye of little faith, why did you doubt?" But he said, "Oh, ye of little faith." He didn't say, "Oh, ye of no faith." But we have been for millennia making Peter the butt of a joke. We use that phrase all the time. "Oh, ye of little faith" has become a part of the vernacular, right? "Oh, ye of little faith." We say it all the time. We throw it off all the time, right? But I'm going to ask you a question. Do you ever think about the guys that stayed in the boat? Like, who are the disciples that are sitting in the boat watching Peter lose his faith and start to sink? Nobody ever thinks about those guys. Nobody ever gives those guys a bunch of crap for staying in the freaking boat. They didn't do anything. But we don't make fun of them. We make fun of Peter. We use Peter as the butt of a 2,000-year-old joke. I'm going to tell you something. I would rather be the butt of a 2,000-year joke than somebody who stayed in the boat and watched somebody else step out in faith. We all are scared. We all lose our confidence. We all lose our grip on faith, but that doesn't mean we can't get it back. It doesn't mean we can't get it back. It doesn't mean that hand is not there to reach out and grab us. We just have to have faith that that hand is going to reach out to help us. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "All the water in the world can't drown you if it doesn't get in you. All the fear in the world can't stop you if you don't let it. When you choose to let it in, when you choose to let it have more power than your faith, that's when you bop into a problem." Third step to miracles is action. Remember, in acting as in life, it's all about what we do. Acting is active. Life is active. How do you make something appear to be true on stage? You behave as if it is true. How do you make something appear to be true in life? Come to fruition in life? Well, you behave as if it is true. You take action as if it is true. It's not just about believing that it's possible. It's about doing something, moving toward that dream, right? You have the dream, then you have the faith, then you step out in faith, you take action, you step out of the boat, you make that offer, you don't block the offer that the universe gave you of the dream, right? You don't give in to fear, you offer, you take steps. We are, you've heard me say this a billion times, we're 100% responsible, right? We are 100% responsible for our lives. We are responsible for offering into our own lives. We only limit what's possible by not offering, by not taking action. Ernest Holmes said, we have to have an active faith, a faith that is of God instead of merely a faith in God. Now, I think that's pretty much saying it. We can't just put all the onus on the universe. We have faith that the universe is going to come and get us and save us. We can't just have a faith that the universe is a benevolent universe and offering, etc., etc., etc. That's a good step. But we have to have an active faith, a faith that lets us remember that we are co-creators. Our action creates the reality in which we live. We limit what's possible by not offering, by assuming that the universe makes the miracles, not us, but we make the miracles. We've got a responsibility to participate in this miracle making. Mary Morrissey says parachutes weren't proven trustworthy by having people carry them around on their backs. The device showed its reliability once somebody jumped. That's the only way that we know that it works. We have to jump. There's a wonderful story that Mary Morrissey used to tell when she was the minister at the Living Enrichment Center in Wilsonville in Oregon. And I was so blessed to be part of that congregation because she was a hoot as a minister every Sunday. I got to tell you, that woman tells great stories. So I'm gonna co-opt one of her stories, and this story is about a guy who had so many beautiful things he wanted to do. He wanted to help people, and he wanted to create all kinds of possibilities and beautiful things for so many people. And he was going to rescue everybody. Saw the lottery getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every week he would pray, God, please let me win the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. And he would make more plans about what he was going to do and who he was going to help and who he was going to save. And every week he'd pray, please let me win the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. I will do all these beautiful things, I swear. I know what I'm going to do with it, and it's going to save so many people. It's going to help so many people. God, please let me win the lottery. Every week, please let me win the lottery. Please let me win the lottery. And he didn't. And so finally, after so long of planning and preparing and knowing what he could do and praying and praying and praying, he finally was just broken, and he just yelled out, God, What else do you want me to do? I have planned. I have made all these beautiful plans. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I am committed. I have done everything. I am a good person. I have done everything. Why can't I win the lottery? What else could I do?" And he heard this booming voice say, "Buy a ticket." Hello. Okay, right? That booming voice is yelling at us all right now. Buy a ticket. Buy a ticket. We have to have an active faith. We have to take action. That's our responsibility. Okay, the next step to miracles is transformation. Trans means going beyond, and form, what is now, right? So it's going beyond the present form of your life. That's transformation. And the reason this is one of the steps is because even when we have the dream and we have the faith and we have the action, we don't always allow it to let our life change, to let our life go beyond its present form. Because, again, here comes that fear. We like to at least know the mess we're in. That other thing that looks really cool over there might be a bigger mess. We have to allow it, though. We have to accept the offers that come to us. I have said not all that long ago that even sometimes when me who is teaching all this, and I'm trying to walk my talk and I'm out there, I have said a number of times that there are days when I feel like I've got my foot on the gas and my foot on the brakes simultaneously. I'm out there taking action toward all kinds of miracles, and I'm slowing it down on the backside of it. I'm not totally sure I'm super comfy with what might be out beyond that big, wild, beautiful miracle that seems to be manifesting, right? So we will tend to allow ourselves to give in to the fear of change. We don't realize that we're sabotaging miracles in progress because we're losing faith. Not in the universe. We might have even accepted, I accept completely that the universe is offering like crazy. I don't lose faith in the universe. I lose faith in me. I lose faith in what I am about and how I'm going to be able to handle that future moment, that transformative moment. We have to let go. We have to let go of control. We have to let go of expectation. We have to let go of all of those preconceived notions and those limiting beliefs and those presets. We have to let go. We have to allow the miracle to arrive. We have to allow our life to go beyond its present form. If you haven't read Richard Bach's Illusions, I'm first of all surprised. And if you're anywhere near my age, I think everybody read it back a couple of decades ago. But in Illusions, it is a wonderful story of a, quote, reluctant Messiah. But in the front part of the book, there is this apparently handwritten story. And it's a story of these little creatures that cling to the side of a river, and they never, ever, ever let go. They spend their entire lives clinging to the side of the river, and they worship the river. They're amazed by the river, but they're also afraid to let go and be in the river. And so they're clinging on to the side of the river. Eventually, this one little creature gets too tired to hang on and lets go. And as he goes floating down the river, everybody starts looking at him going, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Look at what you're doing, and you're surviving." And they start putting him on this metaphorical pedestal, and they start to worship him along with the river. He says to them, "Don't be afraid. The river delights to lift us free if only we dare to let go." Hello again. The universe delights to lift us free if only we dare to let go. We are on a path that is a path through a field of infinite possibilities. There are only miracles. if we will keep that faith in ourselves and allow the transformation. Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life you ought to be living is the one you are living. So the final step on the way to miracles is manifestation. Most of us think that the word manifestation is telling us that we have to do something. We have to get busy and do something to manifest a miracle. But really, manifestation just means to reveal, not to create. We're not creating miracles. We're revealing miracles. My greatest lesson in this came from an early mentor of mine. I was super blessed in my 20s to have my scene study teacher be Sir Anthony Hopkins. And he remained a mentor and a supporter for many, many years. And he was the honorary patron of a repertory theater company that I ran. Bless his little heart, he came and was doing a series of events in support of the theater company. During that time, he and I were one day kind of climbing across piles of garbage in a building that I was going to turn into a theater. And this building was a little run down, shall we say. And it was full of lots of junk. And so Tony turns to me and says, do you see it? And I was a little stumped for a second. And I'm like, see what? He's like, do you see it? When you look at this, do you see what it will become? When you go to bed at night, do you see it? When you wake up in the morning, do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see what this is becoming? And I said, yeah. And he said, then it already exists. We just have to be smart enough to catch up to it. I love that phrase. It already exists. We just have to be smart enough to catch up to it. We just have to be willing to allow it to manifest, to reveal, to become part of our daily reality. Another Ernest Holmes quote, I seem to have a lot of those today. He said, because we fail to realize that principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and few miracles result. Yeah, hello. We get caught up in believing that if we haven't seen evidence that it can happen X way, or that it can look this way, or that we can have this thing, if we haven't seen somebody else have it or seen somebody else do it, we get afraid that if we haven't seen it before, maybe it's not supposed to happen. Well, what's happening to somebody else has nothing to do with what should or could be happening to us. You, each one of you, every single one of us, we are conscious creators. We're working to be totally conscious of our creative process, the miracles we are creating. You are here for a reason. Find your reason. Find your dream. Your dream. Find your faith. This is totally about what your dream is, what your faith is. Find your dream. Find your faith. Take your action. Allow your transformation. Reveal the miracles that are already there for you. And I'm going to tell you one last special added extra bonus. You know the story about Jesus and Peter and walking on the water? That is the same day, actually minutes after the loaves and the fishes. That all apparently happened in one day. He transformed the loaves and the fishes and fed 5,000 people, and then he walked on water shortly thereafter. So what that is telling me is there is no limit to the miracles that we can manifest in our lives. We don't have to lay down and rest in between. They can flow freely, constantly. We just have to allow them. So I'm going to say to you, I wish for all of us that we choose faith over fear and that we manifest our miracles and that we meet with the success unexpected in the common hours. All right, my friends, I am super glad you came to hang with me today. And I'm going to remind you that this is the Spontaneous Brilliance podcast, and it's not just about my spontaneous brilliance, but yours too. So we'll keep going with the solo casts, but we're going to intermix them with conversation podcasts, and those are going to be about things that you want to talk about and you talking about them. So you're going to come and talk to me. And the first step in that is that you need to email podcast@spontaneousbrilliance.com, podcast@spontaneousbrilliance.com, and let me know what you'd like to talk about, and we'll get a conversation set up. Alrighty, my friends, have a beautiful, glorious, blessing-filled day, and keep getting out there offering, accepting, and expecting miraculous things in your life. All right, my dears, see you soon.